I don't 100% agree with everything in this video, but there's so much information that I would feel irresponsible if I didn't at least try to touch a few people with this information. This is for fair use. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, and exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. 17 U.S.C. 107, Section 107, limitations on exclusive rights and fair use. This is called fair use and is allowed for purpose of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe on copyright under 17 U.S.C. Section 107. With that being said, this is fair use.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I'm doing this video as another video where I know I'm going to be able to simplify this enough for you to share it with your friends and your family to it.
And this is why I chose this particular video, was because he did simplify so much of what's going on in society in under 30 minutes. He did it in 1732, start to finish. He simplified a lot. He didn't touch on everything, but he touched on enough to make people go,
At least raise their eyebrows, to make them think and question some things that are going on.
This guy sounds like
I'm going to show them
Alex
through
Jones.
the constant mainstream narratives, the same repetition that's being used to push all of these major New World Order agendas. So listen to this video, share this video. I promise you it'll be informative. Now, repetition, I've said a million times, is the key to mind control. For those of you who don't understand what that means, think about when you hear a song in the car, right? And then the song's stuck in your head for days and days. You don't even like the song and you find yourself singing it in the shower. That's because you're hearing the song over and over and over. A lot of people actually don't like a song when they first hear it. It's the repetition that makes them like the song because they're actually under a form of mind control. That's why you might catch a guy who's a metalhead singing a Backstreet Boys song in the shower or humming it to himself, and he'll say, "Why is this crap in my head?" Well, it's because you probably heard it 50 times in the radio. You heard it in the background while you're grocery shopping, while you're at the dentist's office, right? That's how mind control works. And it all starts with your brain, obviously, right? Think of your brain as a computer pad. Or just think of it as an empty computer, I should say, not a pad. A computer, right? It comes to your house, you open it up, and there's nothing on that computer yet. But you start putting information on the computer, you start downloading your music, you start putting whatever things you put on there, pictures of yourself and your family, and other things that you might watch or do or whatever have on their work documents, etc., etc. The human brain, when you're born, is just like an empty computer showing up at your house. And this is the reason that they want to get us all into schools at a young age while the brain is still developing, because young children are absorbing this information. Whatever information is given to them, they absorb, right? And that's why it is so important to get these children to the elite, at least to the Illuminati, the New World Order, to get children into the school system fast so that they can program their brains. What happens from there is they begin programming their brains with a history of lies. All the things that they tell us are not true. We live in a world of lies. That is what's life inside of the Matrix is. Free to the stuff that we're told that's important in, English class, to science class, dissecting frogs and chemistry, all stuff that's worthless to you in the future. But they want to indoctrinate you with this stuff. And as I get into the agenda, such as the feminist movement, this is one of the reasons why the feminist movement is so important. Because by brainwashing women and trying to empower them, what it does is it gets the woman to try to compete with the man, thus telling a woman that being a mother is not an important job, that being a mother means nothing, that a woman should go earn, a man should go earn, because this is how they get their hands on the children. This is how they brainwash the children, and this is why we live in a world of walking, talking zombies. This is why when you go to school, and I'm sure everybody listening to this at one point in your life, you said to yourself, what is the point of this, right? Didn't we learn this already? These sound like familiar quotes. Or for those of you who are still, in school listening, right? You're like, didn't we learn this in 7th grade, and 8th grade, 9th grade? Oh, well, this year, instead of learning geometry, you're going to learn algebra or whatever, right? Trig. Oh, okay, so it's a little bit different, but it's the same stuff, right? Same with English class. Oh, we're going to read this book instead of that book, but then we're going to talk about this guy and, the same thing. Shakespeare, the same, Freemason elites that they love to shove down everyone's throat, right? And then inside of this system, the people who are rewarded are the ones who buy into the repetition, the ones who are doing their best and getting their best grades because they've been programmed enough to get the best grades because they're buying into the system. And then they're rewarded with better schooling, better jobs. And really what happens is when a lot of these kids, who have high GPAs, who buy into this, who, I want to work so hard and get high grades and think that that's what life's all about, learning the most lies they possibly can to get the highest GPA. And then they go off to these universities, and a lot of times they'll be recruited at these universities, Ivy League schools, like I've said a million times. Not just bloodline members are part of these secret societies. They recruit people who have high, they believe have high IQs, high GPAs, and are people who are going to follow along because they've already processed that these people are followers, not leaders, because they haven't questioned the system that they've been put in. They've embraced it, and they've gone further above to continue to brainwash themselves into embracing it, getting their bachelor's to master's to et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we're all victims of this. I graduated college. I went through this stuff because I was told I had to do it, but it didn't mean I didn't question it the whole time and say it's a bunch of crap. Didn't mean that I didn't try to scam my way around some of the stuff going on in college and the school system because I knew it was just a total waste of my time and my energy. And eventually, obviously, it led to my awakening, but I knew something was wrong, right? We've all gone through this, so don't feel like if you're going through it that there's something wrong with you or you're stupid, because this is the system they've set up so that you can go achieve the paper money that they print at the top of the pyramid, okay? So the repetition is the key. Now, for those of you who go, well, I don't really know if I buy into this repetition, and you don't believe in how, all the stuff in schools are lies and all that stuff, let's talk about the main agendas that the mainstream media pushes today. Let's start with feminism, right? What they have to do is, in all of these music videos and all of these shows, is empower women, make women victims, right? The Me Too movement. This is all seed planting for women to strive to become executives and all this stuff, to make them feel as if being a mother is not a job, right? Oh, the nanny can watch the kid, or, oh, we'll put the kid in a daycare center so the kid could possibly be trafficked or something like that, or we'll put the kid here, we'll put the kid there. Now, this isn't saying that women shouldn't work and have jobs. Of course not. I'm talking about the feminist movement. If you're married and, you guys, as a couple, you need more income to take care of your family, obviously, okay, that's fine. But feminism and a woman working and doing certain things is not one and the same, okay? It is their goal to push the feminist movement to get children raised by the system, right? Because what is missing from the system? God is missing from the system. Values are missing from the system. Family. Okay? Now, the feminist movement, for those of you who don't believe it's something that they're trying to brainwash everyone with, let's just take a look at some of the stuff that's going on casually in the media and look at the repetition being done. From Ocean's 8, right? They've taken the Ocean's 11 movies, now turned Ocean's 8 with an all-female cast, empowering females. To Ghostbusters with an all-female cast. To the bringing back of television shows like Roseanne and Murphy Brown, which are about empowered women. Now, Murphy Brown more so than Roseanne, but there's a reason that they're bringing these shows back. To movies like Mom's Night Out and Rough Night and Bad Mom's Christmas. These are movies about women acting as men, right? Women deciding that, oh, they're going to get drunk and they're going to go out and party and they're going to go out and hook up. And I'm not saying condoning that being right for men either, right? They've poisoned men into living that lifestyle. Now they want to poison women into doing it. But this is a way to empower women into, hey, it's Friday night. Instead of having a family night, let's go out. Let's get crazy, right? Movie after movie after movie with an all-female cast compared to an all-male cast, right? Which is exactly what they want. And the feminist movement with the Me Too movement making women look like victims. This is getting more and more women to not only despise men, but to want to achieve more inside of the system. And that's what they want. They want you to almost climb the stairs like the Masonic staircase inside of the system. So that, oh, here, you can make more money. Here, we'll dangle some carrots over here. Meanwhile, give us your kid if you have it. And if you don't have a kid, you don't want to have a kid, right? That's another way for them to depopulate. Okay? But if you do have a kid, listen, mom's going to be an executive, dad's going to be an executive, and the child, well, he's ours. And we're going to raise him with fake history of the wars of the world and who were behind it. We're not going to educate them on the Rockefellers. We're not going to educate them on how to farm, how to take care of themselves, how to take care of their bodies. No, we're going to raise them and educate them on nonsense and bullcrap and lies. And then after enough years of conditioning, they're going to defend this same system because this system is all they know. So when people like A Call for an Uprising or others go after them or ask them to question what's going on, or they hear us speak, they get defensive and defend the system because that's all they know is the indoctrination of lies. It's it. It's almost like telling them the world they live in doesn't exist. They don't want to hear it. They protect the system. They're protective of it. So you see the feminist movement all over the place. Another one that I constantly talk about is the LGBT, from the homosexual agenda to the trans agenda. Now, this is in no way, shape, or form hate speech. I'd like to make that clear and put a disclaimer in there, because every time I expose these things, I get strikes, because they don't want this exposed, because they don't want you to believe that mind control is real. But they've strategically placed gay characters in television shows now for 60, 70 years, right? Whether you knew the character was gay or not. Now, obviously, since Ellen, who gets shoved down our throat, they make sure that Ellen has her own show, that Ellen's always in the spotlight, right? For a reason. Because they want you to accept, because the mindset of Satanism and the occult is do without will. Okay? They want you to do everything they can to defile the Bible, to defile God's word, and to get everybody to have the same mindset of do without will. Because that is the satanic mindset, and it comes in the name of love. It comes in the name of tolerance and acceptance. And that's why there's shows with Ellen, right? Modern Family, gay character. Will and Grace, gay character. Reality shows like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Any of those reality shows, whether it's Project Runway, or one of those shows where a woman's buying a wedding dress, or America's Next Top Model, right? Gay character, gay character, gay character. Or you can go down the list to The Real World. The television show The Real World always have to have a gay character on cast. This is just to bring acceptance through repetition, so that 50 years ago, this stuff would not be normal. People wouldn't be accepting of this. And this isn't bashing anybody who is gay, okay? This isn't wishing hate or harm on them. And I mean that seriously. I don't wish hate or harm on them. But you see a huge rise in the last 20 years and how many people, it's almost like every other person you see or meet is gay. And that's because of the mind control. It's not because all of a sudden people are brave to come out of the closet. It's because of the repetition and the indoctrinating with these characters. They make these characters funny. They sexualize these characters.
Which then in turn is the predictive programming that you hear me mentioning all of the time on my channel. This is the effects of being predictively programmed, is that society is turned into a heterosexual, like a man who just loves a woman and a woman who just loves a man's man. That's almost becoming taboo. That's almost becoming the minority, for a lack of better words. I never thought a day in the age of my life that I would grow up in and I would be criticized because I'm a woman who loves a real man's man, a man that stands up, honors his woman, protects his family, doesn't have to fucking be perfect, but can be imperfectly perfect. So women can't even be sexy today, because anytime a woman tries to be sexy, you get people like James Charles out there, trying to emulate to society what women are. And all these like people who are men and they, do drag and dress up as a woman and try to emulate and channel, the feminine existence. That's not how real women act. So it confuses me, because you got all these men trying to act like women, but they're not even acting like real women. And yet they've started this movement. Like when I was growing up, if you said transvestite, it was like, now if you say tranny, it's like, oh, sister, oh, God, girl, I'm going in on Tuesday. It's so fucked up that it's so trendy. Like bipolar became trendy when I was growing up. I noticed a lot of my friends and everybody were getting diagnosed as bipolar. A doctor even tried to diagnose me as bipolar because it was trendy. My parents were rich and it was trendy. Well, then in my adult life, I go to plenty of therapists and stuff like that. I've had a lot of trauma in my life, and they refused to diagnose me with bipolar, and they diagnosed me with CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Well, fuck me. Because I want the excuse of being bipolar, so when I'm cranky or bitchy, I can be like, oh, it's my bipolar. Because that's all you see these people in these TV shows do. they're bipolar and they blame everything on like that. And then you have these shows out here trying to genuinely touch on mental health, and they do such an injustice to the entire topic. You have people out there like Bruce Jenner turning into a woman, but yet he talks like a man and he looks like a man. And that's not what I grew up as being normal or okay. Caitlyn Jenner could never have done this in the 80s or 90s because he would have been put in a straitjacket. He would have been sent to some fucking religious church, so they would have like prayed the gay out of him or whatever the fuck all these documentaries are about that, you know, the churches used to think that they could fix things. So to me, if the world's going to be imposing itself on me because I grew up in a certain day and age, in a certain generation, most of the people in my generation totally accepted their predictive programming. My ex-boyfriend completely predictive program. You can't, and he's 10 years older, so he's 51. I'll be 41 in June, and I look at him sometimes, and the shit he says, I'm just like, I know mind control is real because I could see the predictive programming in everybody I know, online and offline. And if more people would be aware, then more people could live for themselves and not for what the New World Order wants or what the government wants or what society wants. Like, why do you go buy a shirt in a store where 10,000 other people are going to be wearing that same exact shirt? Oh, because Gucci says it's trendy? So you want what everybody else has because it's trendy, not because you actually like it or wanted something like that, but because it's fucking trendy. See, I don't live based on trends. You'll notice on my TikTok page, I don't jump on the trend train. You'll notice on my YouTube page, I do not live for trends. I never will. Because if I start living for the trends, if I start waking up every day to do something new that's trendy, then I sold my soul. Because I have been placed on this earth, and I'm not fully sure, but I believe it has something to do with finding a man that will honor me so that we together cannot be alone in the world and go experience life for what we can make of it together. To be there for my daughter, even if we don't get along or I fuck up or she fucks up, just to know that it doesn't matter if we fuck up. I don't need her to be perfect. I hope she don't need me to be perfect because we've already realized that train fucking left the station. It was never fucking, I never had a ticket to that train. I want to do my community here good. I no longer have a stream schedule. If you look on my Twitch page, my stream schedule is taken down because my medical stuff is just getting really overwhelming. And I don't need the guilt of thinking I might not be able to get to stream tonight. I'm letting people down. What if tonight's the big night? I could have made it big. What if tonight's the big night that say, I don't know, like Mr. B stops in my fucking stream because I tweet on his page like every week and he's like, oh, she really is nice, you know, hi. And that's it, just stops and says hi. And I miss somebody who I really respect because of their hard work and their endurance to continue doing what they're doing. Like every day that I might not be here, I could miss somebody coming into my stream who could change my life or I could change theirs. I get texts and messages weekly from people saying that they lurk in my stream, whether it be on Streamcraft, a lot from Streamcraft or Twitch or YouTube or Mob Crush when I was there. And it's, like they've thanked me for enabling them to relate, enabling relation, as I call it. And they've also thanked me because they say that there's not too many streamers out there that will stop playing video games, which is what everybody wants someone to do when they're a streamer, and they just stop to be real. I got a message yesterday which was really just so heartwarming. And it was from Fusco, not Fusco, Suck the Best. And he just was like, "Hey, I'm over in the UK. I'm so sorry that I missed your 1 year thing. Blah 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 blah." And he was just like, "I hope this and that is doing all right. How is this and that?" And he just listed specifics of my life that he would have had to have been paying attention to know. And it just made me feel really nice. And then the next message that I got on my Twitter was a message from, well, I won't say her name, but a message from somebody who you guys probably know ain't here anymore. And she's just like, "I just wanted to make sure that, like, she's still here on Earth. She's just not, she doesn't come to my stream anymore. She's like, "I just wanted to let you know, like, when I did come to your stream, like, I really appreciated having a place where it was okay to just be me." So I'm glad that people send me messages telling me that they feel my channel is a two-way street. So I'm not just coming here being like, "Yeah, you guys get to deal with what I want to deal with today. You guys are like here for me. You guys, this is all about me. This is all about me." And I watch other people's streams, and yeah, there is that certain level of not including the viewers and not making a community, just making a paycheck. Eventually, I would love for it to be me being able to do this and make a paycheck. But I don't feel like I'm ever going to get to the place where I'm like Bad Bunny sitting here telling people to fuck off if they're not going to financially, pave my way. I just wouldn't feel like a good person.
This is all part of repetition and mind control, and they do it in cartoons as well. We saw Beauty and the Beast, right? They rolled out the gay character in the new Beauty and the Beast movie, Guston or somebody or his friend, right? To movies like Stork, Sausage Party, you know, uh, the list goes on and on as they start implanting these characters in cartoons so that children automatically think that this is normal behavior and it's normal, right? When in fact it is a form of mind control. And then you can look at the trans agenda, which is never, this is picked up beyond words right now, right? It's like, 10 years ago, this would have been insane. And now it's like if you speak again, they want to suddenly, if they can't pee in the bathroom, they want to pee in. You're a hateful person and all this stuff, and everybody's on board. But look at all the seeds that have been done with the trans agenda from almost every person in Hollywood cross-dressing, whether it's on Saturday Night Live and it's The Rock or Derek Jeter, to movies like White Chicks, to TV shows like Vanderpump Rules, which every season constantly pushes, the Pride Parade. The guys are always cross-dressing, right? Because these guys are being paid to push a narrative, to push an agenda. They're all on board. They know what the goal, this is what they do at Bohemian Grove. For people who wonder, what is Bohemian Grove? What do they do at these freak meetings? Yeah. Do they perform all these sexual deviant acts? Yeah. Do they probably perform ritual killings? Yeah. But the goal of it isn't to just go up there and kill and perform, because they do this stuff on a routine basis, according to the Satanic Calendar and all these other dates and moons and full moons and blood moons and all that stuff. But they go up there and they socialize. They have meetings about what the agendas are going to be. And it gets pushed down. The people, if you saw the people who went to Bohemian Grove or Bilderberg, you would be like, I don't know who any of these people are. Where's Obama? Where's Trump? Where are the big names? They don't need to be there because it's the editors. It's the producers of these shows, or the guys who are at the top, the COOs of networks like Bravo, etc. They get the orders. Okay, this is what you got to push this in each show, right? Push the LGBT, and they find a way to fit it in. They give the orders down to the producer. They tell them, okay, we're going to do an episode that focuses on pride. We're going to do an episode where the guys cross-dress, and that's why all these shows have the same thing going on, because they're giving you the repetition, because they know that the acceptance starts to come through the repetition.
I can tell you that when I first saw men dressing up as women, like on Saturday Night Live or Martin Lawrence in movies or Robin Williams in Miss Doubtfire, I always wondered and asked myself, why couldn't they find a female to play that part? Because that's the generation and the mindset that I was brought up in, is that there was something wrong with you if you were your mom's, high heels and freaking lipstick and get a penis. I never felt like there was anything wrong playing dress up. But when I was a little girl, I did not play dress up, dressing up as a man. It was never like when I had the chance to play dress up, I wanted to be like a princess. I wanted to be, you know, a queen. I wanted to be a veterinarian or maybe a lawyer. But if I were, I would obviously have had a nice skirt. So to me, I did not. The edgiest thing that I was exposed to was Madonna. And I always knew there was something not fucking right about her. Like I admired her because she was like, I have a place in this world. Like that's what Madonna taught me when I was younger. I have a place in this world. But she went overboard because she basically was like, fuck, the world's gonna be what I want it. Everyone lives in my world, Papa don't preach and like a virgin, borderline, just all of these extreme, and then she got real extreme. Extreme music influential songs that were being repetitively played that told little girls that they don't have to listen to their parents and that they can be themselves no matter what that is. Now, she took it to a line like when I saw her hanging out with gay people all the time and burning crosses, I was so like, I was hurt. In Like a Virgin, where she's burning the crosses on the lawn, I liked the song. But on MTV in the morning when I would be getting dressed and getting ready and that video would come on, I would just feel hurt, like sad, like conflicted because I liked the music and I wanted to see her succeed because I thought that's how it worked. I thought that she needed us, each people out there, every little individual out there. I felt like she needed each one of us out there supporting what she were doing so she could get the recognition for the hard work that she had put in to giving us something we could just take with us through our life. It's not at all how it works. In my world, that's how I wish it were. That is not at all how it works now that I'm not on the blue pill anymore. So, when she was like burning crosses and doing this super controversial shit, it definitely made me a little bit more rebellious than I feel I would have been if I weren't influenced or if I hadn't been exposed to her music. But it got really fucking weird. And I feel like she started this movement where she made a lot of women want to have gay friends. Because she put this LGBT taint in the water. And colorful water appealed to a lot of people. And because I personally had had a neighbor who was the first person in our county who had died of HIV, the gay community wasn't what Madonna was making it seem like in her music videos. MTV was misrepresenting. They were making it seem like this fucking party and just this awesome warm lovingness, and they sold it through love. They didn't sell it through it being authentically part of some people's lives. It all seemed like a Hollywood script. It seemed like a gimmick. It seemed like a way to just piss off your parents. It seemed like a way to be against society, like fuck the man, that kind of thing. And that's how I started seeing it, even though the world started loving and embracing it because it was sold in such a influential way that next thing you know, we got RuPaul out there, and I myself get conflicted because I do like some of RuPaul's work. I do like some of the RuPaul's Drag Race. I've played some of the contestants' musics here on my channel before. So it conflicts me because I was a person when I were growing up, music got me through a lot. And I always felt like if I found a song that moved me or made me feel happy or provoked some kind of something in me that benefited me in that moment, that was okay. There's a song by Alaska Thunderfuck, and it's a fucking funny, awesome song. It's really rude, but it's really perfect. And if back here, now this is an 80 or maybe a 90s movies, To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything. All of a sudden in movies, okay, Madonna did it in music. And I can't think back to, I used to think Boy George was gay. I always knew something was wrong with Michael Jackson. Like in dance class, we had to do his Thriller song for a dance routine, and I just hated it. I cringed. Like the music just made me cringe. I don't enjoy anything about him. Like I had red flags going up when I was freaking like in fucking first grade. I didn't learn to just overlook or forgive because ooh they make good music, and that's my point. I understand the mind control and the predictive program and all that, but why does it have to do with anything with the Bible? Because I believe the reason that they connect the Bible into all this MK Ultra is because it's satanic. Mind control is satanic. And black and white, good and bad, good versus evil. I feel like you have to disregard anything in the Bible in order to pay homage to like all these celebrities putting up the symbolisms and stuff. They have to disregard everything in the Bible in order to be able to become that entity. And their world isn't our world. And when they're talking about God, they're talking about their God, not my God. Good, evil, black, white, duality. And it's tough. And I do believe the elite and the government taking control of the masses. I do understand that. And I think that because we see in society good and evil. And when we think of good, I think society tends to think of like God and being a good person. When we think of evil, we tend to think of being a bad person doing bad things. So if we know these things are very bad that are being done, then the other side of that is the good in the Bible and the God. And I feel like there's so much more of this that when they're on a scale, it's basically there's so much more evil here, and that when people are faced with horrific things, they're kind of questioned with what did I do wrong, uh why did this happen to me? And I feel like when those questions come about, we have to kind of find ourselves sitting in a position where we know something better could have happened, and better has to be less evil. So then we come back again to the good versus evil. And I think society has been programmed to be good versus evil. And that is, who, and then God. Just my thought. Like, this would be like if we were sitting around and soundboarding. This would be a soundboard session. I should start a new series called Soundboarding. What's your thought on it, Lunabelle?
You got movies like Tu Wong Fu. I remember in the 80s, movies like Just One of the Boys, Ladybug, subliminally doing it, right? Boy dressing as girl, girl dressing as boy. It's all there. And you see it now, too, with movies that are about civil war, because that's another agenda they push, right? They push blacks versus whites, liberals versus conservatives, right? Civil War. They have, Captain America, Civil War. These Avenger movies are constantly talking about this inner civil
It's
war.
creepy.
The Purge movies, right? Purge movies are a perfect example of what they want. This stuff is all planted there. All of the shows, you'll be hard pressed to find one that doesn't have these agendas in it or these characters pushing this in it. Whether the character, the character doesn't have to be on the show going, everybody should be gay and this and that. No, it's having the character there, the acceptance of it, the normalizing of it through repetition. And that's why it's there. So share this video. It's as simple as it gets. It's as easy as it is to figure out. From all the stuff that people talk about, and I get the importance of talking about everything. I try to talk about every topic that I possibly can. Okay, there's people who talk about so many different things, but it all starts with the human mind. Everything starts with your mind. Everything. Okay? Before the poisoning and the food, the fluoride and all stuff, it starts with your brain. Because once you unlock that, once you realize that your brain has been programmed to see stuff that doesn't exist.
But I mean, in the Bible, there's a lot of unusual stuff anyway. So how do people decide what to believe and what not to believe? On a day-to-day basis, you have to disregard parts of the Bible anyway, but it doesn't make them any. I agree. I think duality with everything. Yeah, can't be put. I agree because here's something I question every day regarding that is that I don't want to be a bad person, and I have people in my community and in my real life who, by me being nice to, goes against the Bible. The guy should just be no tolerance, no tolerance. So people who have been predictive programmed, whether they know it or they don't know it, if I go by the Bible, I can't have any room in my life or space for them because I have to separate myself from the fuckery. But at the same time, I don't want to be considered a bad person because I'm tolerant, I guess. Because, truly, I was raised that tolerance is a good quality. Tolerance is something that gets you further in life. Tolerance is something that is valued. Boy, am I pretty fucking tolerant. But in the Bible, I believe it says tolerance is not good. So I haven't honestly read the Bible, and when I move, I'm actually thinking of doing a certain stream every day where I start the Bible I bought, um, and I just start reading it and just reading it on stream here. Even if it's only like a page or two at a time, and it takes me a year or two to get through it. I don't know. I very much have contemplated this, and I have like a student Bible, so it's supposed to be easier to understand and whatnot. But I really value that question, Lunabelle, because I don't have the answer. Because here's the point. To answer your question, society, the government, my education, anything I've been offered through the society would have had to have taught me or touched base on that, and it has never. It's never been a priority for the government or the school systems or any university or any educational institution or my parents' morals or values or ethics to actually talk about the believe and what not to believe and how do we know the value or the validity of such information. All of the things that you are discussing, society has never thought it important for people to sit down and start talking about. Makes me kind of wonder, interesting now that that's kind of coming out. Interesting that these things that really would help give understanding to people who were seeking understanding or accessing parts of their brain which maybe society wants to, let die off, the intellectual evolving of society instead of the technological evolving of society. Does this make sense to you? I feel like the government and the New World Order, the elite, however, whoever it be, whatever society is about, the media, the trends, the clothing, the companies, the foods, whatever fucking society, okay? I feel like they are only focused on evolving us technologically, and they're not focused anymore. And in fact, they're trying to extinguish the evolution of people and humans analytically and logically. So our brains aren't being asked to continue evolving as they have since primates. However, we're being asked to technologically accept all this technological advancement, which is requiring less of our brains and more of our time and money. And time is something you can't ever get back. So all the time everybody is spent looking down at their electronics, you know, Tinder, whatever, all of the time isn't returnable. So by the time humans start feeling and realizing that life wasn't meant to be attached to an electrical appliance or device their whole life, okay? And that there were other ways in real life, like if the internet went down right now, I would know how to survive, I would know how to communicate, I would know how to have relationships. But most of the world would not. And the people who are going to run our world certainly do not. They can pretend they do, but they're being taught by institutions which are picking and choosing what they feel is important for human quality and human education, human knowledge to have the option to retain. They're not giving people the option to actually go out and learn what it's actually like to ask the tough questions, such as why do we have it stated like this, but yet it's always frowned upon like that? How come 20 years ago everybody was saying this, and now 20 years later today everybody's against what was 20 years ago, but there's so little ability to explain how and why society just turned, other than predictive programming, other than repetition, other than everything that has been talked about in this video.
And then you realize the stuff that, I talk about, the colors, the symbols, all that stuff right in front of our faces, them showing it to you almost like they're a gang, does exist, but your brain's been trained not to see it, to shut it off, to be in an alpha state, a sleep state. So once you unlock your mind, once you turn that key and you start realizing this stuff and you put your pride aside, because if you're someone listening and you're not awake yet, put your pride aside. Nobody cares if you have a master's and all that stuff. Oh, you're going to look back and go, well, I wasted 30 years of my life. Well, join the club. We all wasted many years of our lives, right? In the school system, believing in nonsense, striving for things that we couldn't achieve because it's all a controlled system, and then realizing that these things are worthless anyway. We've all been there. So put your pride aside, okay? And just realize that it's a waste. I'm not saying, oh, someone who's a doctor, they don't serve a purpose, or someone who does this doesn't serve a purpose. Of course they do. People have trades who are good at certain things, and there's people who, go to school for, communications, for, getting their masters in that, and it's like, okay, well, there's not really what's coming out of that. I don't know, or your marketing and stuff like that. But if you just set your pride aside and realize that we've all been duped, and then it all starts with the most basic form, which is repetition, which is why they get us at a young age in the schools. Like I said earlier, they beat it into our head, beat it into our head, beat it into our head, just like a song on the radio, right? Repeat, repeat, repeat. And then you get to a certain age where your brain is already fully developed, and that's why they stop schooling at that certain age, because your brain's developed. It's processed all the bull crap. It's taken it all.
Shipping is simple, or at least
I'm not sure how you all feel, but
And they know from this point on, it's going to be hard to deprogram you, but you can deprogram yourself. You can. You have to put your pride aside, your ego aside, and understand that this stuff is real.
like the Bible says that if a person wears a garment of one, two different fabrics, then they should be stoned. You can't touch big skin, may not work on Son Man. I had studied the Bible extensively, and I don't really 5 or 10 things I agree with it. Honestly, I think that I question How do we know the Bible is what we're supposed to be following? How did it make it through the dinosaurs and all that other shit? How do we know that that is exactly what, if the Bible was written by God, okay, whatever. I'm just asking, theoretically speaking, how do we know that through all of these decades and generations, okay, how do we actually know that that is the actual written one? How do we know that once he was gone, someone wasn't like, well, you can't vouch for it. So, and they didn't just change shit. Like, I don't know. I don't know. And how do you find the oldest religion? Because wouldn't the oldest religion be the religion? So religion's tough for me. I don't know. Society is being controlled by the government and the elite. God, to me, isn't a part of it. I believe you. I believe that. I believe certain branches of Christianity are cults. I agree. Examples: Mormons. I was raised Mormon, studied Catholic, Jehovah Witness, and more. And yet I have never seen mind control as much as I have in churches. I respect Christians, but only if they respect me in return. And I can value that. And I don't know why also people feel that they need to go to a man made building to honor God, because I feel like if God were really, really what we're being told in churches God is, then it doesn't take a man made building with, uh, fancy seats and, fancy lights and donations every week. That's not part of God. Isn't God just being able to speak to somebody who, and this is not on the do what thou wilt thought at all, but isn't it about being able, for instance, for me, um, I would just be, I talk to God as much as I can, and I should do it more, but I just feel like in my mind, or I will, or I'll look up and I will just let him know what I'm scared about, let him know what I'm grateful for, let him know what I could use a little help in. Probably not doing it right. I have a broken kneecap. I'm still not okay from, so I can't get down on my knees. Do I not get hurt because my body is, recovering from something that was supposed to make me better for having had done? I don't think it works the way that I were made to think growing up. So growing up, I was told that you had to go to the man-made building, you had to dress a certain way, you couldn't do things on certain days, um, and you had to just go along with everything that was written out by essentially the church, whatever. And I kind of find now that, I have a broken kneecap. I can't go to church every week. I can't get on my knees and pray. But I don't feel like I'm less heard by God or whatever I feel is out there trying to help me maintain being a good person and not fall subjected to my predictive programming, such as suicide is something that was strongly programmed, predictively programmed into my generation. It was given to my generation through uh, mass media, through cartoons, movies, music, that was an option when shit got fucking shitty. Our grandparents didn't see that as an option, but then their kids were exposed to it more and more as TV actually was part of my parents' generation. Just like my daughter was part of the internet, wasn't always here when I was growing up, but my daughter's always had the internet. And so each of these different generations has more and more exposure to all of these ways of being predictively programmed. And if the government is allowing this stuff, and the FCC and all these different regulating companies are allowing this stuff out there, then we know the government's involved. Government really weren't involved in all this shit and it were like some kind of, strange fucking thing happening, then I think there would be more people being cracked down, less TV shows being okayed, and less actors being paid. And that's not what's happening here. So the government has to be involved. But I know when it comes to church, I would hope that no matter where I am in life and no matter what I am going through, that it does not require me to go to a man-made building or follow all of these things that society has told me I need to follow in order to be heard and accepted.
Especially it goes for people listening who might be gay or might be trans, or women out there listening. I'm not against any women, not even close.
Society is being controlled by the government and the elite. I respect absolutely. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Twist of Fate 1210. Are you okay with reacting to videos? I am okay with reacting to videos, but if you want me to react to a video, you need to send it through a whisper so I can check it out, because I don't just do it on stream without checking stuff out first, if that's what you mean. Lunabelle, using carbon dating and architecture of the churches, the most original religion is paganism. See, but now paganism has been set out to be part of the New World Order, which is part of going against God according to what they say online. And I'm not an expert yet. I'm obviously interested in the topic. And then paganism dates back around 1,000 years before Christianity. I believe that, and I also think it's fucked up that we celebrate Christmas in December when, if you read the Bible, if I remember part I read, when Jesus was born, the sheep were in the field or some shit. Sheep aren't in the field in the middle of winter. Just saying. I could be wrong. Oh no. Oh no. Christians actually took over several pagan traditions and holidays in an effort to erase the religion. One thing that puts me off a lot of video sources that promote breaking free of predictive program is that they are being pushed by people who want to tell me that I am a Satanist. See, I definitely steer away from those sources that tell me I'm a bad person. I stay along with the resources that tell me, welcome anybody at any level who is trying to break free of their programming or become aware of what it is. We're glad you're here. And this is a community in which everybody is here at a different point in their awakening. And so be gentle and make sure that you understand that people are here at their different pace, at God's speed, if you will. And so I definitely am very careful about the channels that I listen to. And I'm not going to be woke by angry Christians. I'm going to be woke by people who aren't making religion the basis of their channel. I don't go along too often with religiously based channels because I already know going into it they're going to be biased in their opinion. So I go in rather with certain personalities, people, if you will, who don't have anything to push on me except for information.
But you have to realize that they're playing off of your emotion as a woman with the feminist movement. They're playing off your emotion as a gay person, and they're trying to make you push it onto other people and empower people, when in fact you've been deceived. You're the one who's been deceived through this mind control. So remember that. I hope this was informative for you. I wish I could have used video clips, but I can't. It takes forever to get them even in the video to upload. They block it over and over. So I figured I would just try to speak as clearly as I can to get the message and the point across. I hope you found this informative. I thank you for listening to today's show. Share this video with people, and hopefully it'll help wake them up too. God bless all of you and your families.
So, I definitely feel like there's something going on in which